Oh yeah. The boys are back in town. We're back at it, back in the game. We're about to tear this mofo up. It's been a minute since we had a morning roundup, but we've got the David. Einstein. Big David. Big D20. Amazingly, the big Sabertooth been printing this whole time. It had been printing for a while before he left, and it's still going. Look, the trip was fun. I enjoyed it, but I'm kind of ready to get making stuff again. I don't know about you guys, but that's what I'm about. I guess it's time to do the goal board. So towards the end of the week, of course, we had to prepare, get things squared away to do the trip. But we still got our 3 done last week, which is the minimum. So all in all, not bad. We're probably going to spend a day or 2 really catching up, just getting stuff painted and things and printed. But it's gonna be a fertile week for new products. So let's add them tallies. 3 tally marks. I guess we got 1 walk last week. 1, 2, 3. Man, we are sitting pretty. Man, I'm feeling really good today. Even being away for 1 day just makes me realize how much I like doing this. Thanks for coming along on the ride with the trip and everything, but we are getting coffee now, and I like getting coffee. So good to be back. Also, I forget who said this, but somebody recognized Deacon Blue from yesterday's episode. Great Scottish band from the 80s. The dunk is back in town. The dunk is back. The dunk is back. Good to be back. I live for the grind. Back at the shop, feeling good. Man, sometimes taking a break even for a day or 2, it's kind of worth it because it makes me realize I really like what I do. And speaking of liking what I do, you know it's car time. We're wearing the red, white, and blue, baby. America. I've thought a lot about how to approach painting this because we're doing a lot of details and stuff, but we're gonna hit the silver points first. We're gonna silver this, silver the headlights. We're doing a little strip of silver around here. And this is all supposed to be black in here, but I think we can take a paint marker and paint around here once it's silver so that the grill will be black. We're just getting a little bit of silverage on it, and we're gonna touch up the details with the paint marker. I think we're gonna make these like an orange color. They're like those blinker lights or whatever. Oh yeah, in the silver pass, we're doing the rims too. This is gonna be black. So I think it's like silver, tape off the silvers. Maybe then we'll touch up the black. Everything else is gonna be red, and we're gonna do the windshield black. And maybe after all that is when we're gonna do the lights here. Also, once everything's dry, we're gonna put yellow highlights on the headlights. Here, you guys can see better now. And I think that's how this is gonna work. See, when you're painting something like this, it's like this could become a hit product. So you got to really think about the process. What's the efficient process for making this thing in mass? And I think we can do it like that. That's only like 3 steps or something, depending on whether we count this as a step. That's not too bad, and we can probably get like $200 for this. Yeah, I mean it's quite a print, but it's gonna look spectacular. So let's do that first. We're gonna hit up that silver, and I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. You know what? I actually thought about it. Here's how we're gonna do this. We're gonna do the silvers, and then gonna cover up the silvers, and then spray paint this black. And we'll probably do that with the wheels as well, then tape off the wheels. Then we're gonna start spraying red this way, because that way we can kind of get the red everywhere it needs to be, and it won't touch this because the paint is going this way. Yeah, that's the way to do it. All right, here's the silver pass before and after. Yeah, this coat's pretty good, but I think taping off, then doing the black is gonna be the ticket. Plus the rims are already looking good. All right, so let's package this little guy. Black and white David. Next on the stage, the Einstein Trio. We got a David here made out of some of that leftover transparent. Today, we are doing the bronze guitar octo. We're going to get it painted, let it dry. We'll take some pictures, and we'll probably package it right after that. Oh, I meant to mention, obviously when we were on the road on the little vacation, I didn't really talk about what it sold and stuff. Several sets of guitar octo holders sold. So this is really selling. We picked the right direction on this one. But yeah, we've got at least one more color to paint, which we're gonna do. And that's gonna be today's product. Oh yeah. D20. And we got another D20. This one is going gold. Last one was going bronze. And of course, we have a Celtic skull can. Silver layer is done. Let's start taping off the things. We'll trim away the little extra. There we go. Took a little bit, but that should be a nice chrome bumper. Here's the black pass. Got a nice black grill in there. And of course we did the tires. Still got the silver underneath. Once this dries, we'll tape off the tires, then we're doing the red thing. Procedurally, the car is gonna be rather complex, as you can see. We're basically doing 3 different paint passes on it. But I think it's gonna be cool enough that maybe I can charge 200. Man, maybe we could get 250 for this thing. If it looks cool enough, there are people that will pay money like that. You just gotta make it look really baller. Big old David can. About to do the last color pass with the car. All right, let's get some befores. This guy is going gray. This is a gold shark. We've been selling the gold sharks. The Einstein Trio, black and white, also black and white. Of course, bronze here. Emperor Napoleon is going white and black and white. This guy's just been hanging out here for a long time. I don't even remember what the deal is with him. And after, really gorgeous Big David. Of course, we got the gold shark looking nice. The Einstein Trio. And actually this was a sunset fade David. Forgot about that. Bronze, Napoleon, Big Einstein. Ugh, America. What am I grateful for? Well, the bronze on the new Octo hanger isn't dry yet, so rather than trying to like kind of throw it together, we're pretty ahead of the game. We're just gonna take pictures tomorrow, and tomorrow the car is gonna be done for sure, so tune in to the next episode and you'll see that. It's looking pretty good, let's just say that. So that's a couple new products coming down the pike. It's been really profitable lately. It's nice to get back in the swing of things. Despite missing a day of production, we're actually still pretty on top of things. So, plus all the things we painted today, it's gonna move the ball forward a lot. But yeah, we got a lot to catch up on with comments and questions, so we're gonna get into that. Join the Discord in the link below. Responding to the episode 2 episodes ago, which is the beginning of the trip, Toasty O's says, "That's a piece for you bag, right? No judgment, even if it was a purse." Aw. It's actually pretty cool that he picked up on that. I think I mentioned it in an episode a long time ago, but if you are not referring to the time that I divulged this, yes, my workout bag / laptop bag is made by Piece for You Bags. They are in Bremerhaven, Germany, and they make these bags for different things out of Cold War Army surplus materials, which is kind of why I bought it. Early on, probably a year or two, and probably like 3 years into the business actually, I hit a certain financial goal for savings, and I told myself when I hit that goal, I would finally get one of those really, really sweet bags. They're on Etsy. And originally I was getting it for my laptop, but it kind of turned into a workout bag. But yeah, I love it. Dash Render responded to the last episode. "Great 2-day odyssey to the plains of Houston. I'm sure there's a Lord of the Rings joke in there somewhere. 10 out of 10 would recommend. One does not simply drive into Houston." Can't wait for the Shreveport episode. I believe they have riverboat casinos dry docked in the Red River in addition to vampires. I've never actually been to a casino in my life. Maybe I would just like go into one. I don't know if it costs money to go into a casino, but maybe I would just do it just to say I did it. The user whose name is just a bunch of random letters that I'm not going to attempt to force a pronunciation out of, torture a pronunciation out of, says, neither science nor religion can ever fully explain. Both are lacking and have their own merit. It's like the argument of nature versus nurture. Yeah, I guess ultimately that's sort of what I was getting at. Man, there's so much I could say about this. There's a decent theory that fundamentally, this is gonna lose so many people. I don't care, we're going there. There's a pretty decent theory that the universe is made out of order and chaos. Basically, you have two hemispheres in your brain, and one is suited towards plasticity. The other one is suited towards non-plasticity. Plasticity means can change. We call plastics because we can mold them, right? Basically, your brain is suited towards perceiving order and perceiving chaos. Chaos is maybe better said as potential. And order is like how the world works when you understand it. You know, if you're seeing a machine and the things are moving together in a predictable way, that's like order. Whereas chaos is like you're in the woods and there's a rustling in the bushes and you're like, I have no idea what that is. It could just be the wind, or it could be a leopard that's about to eat my face. So similarly, I think science is this thing that kind of studies order. Like I said, order is it's the part of the world that we perceive in a predictable way, right? You know, it's like I used the machine analogy, but there are just certain things that we know are gonna happen. If you're on a big hill and you push a big rock off the hill, it's gonna bounce down the hill. Like, it's not a mystery. That's kind of like science. And the thing is, a lot of life is like that. I mean, in a civilization, almost the whole point of civilization is to create a world like that we can live in. You can scale large groups of people interacting with each other by basically creating order. I mean, people explicitly say this. This is what Napoleon said after the chaos of the French Revolution. Things were really unpredictable. People were getting their heads chopped off for basically no reason, for looking at you funny. And somebody kind of had to step in and stop that. So science and technology are kind of these things that deal with the predictable, you know, because we can quantify those things and sort of study them. And none of this is taking away from it. Getting to this person's point, these just have their uses. Now, Nietzsche was a big explainer of this scientific, rationalistic mindset. You know, at its most extreme, think of like the edgy 14-year-old internet atheist, okay? And if that's you, we were all there once. I'm not really picking on anybody. I'm just saying, like, you can get in this mindset where the only thing that's real is the predictable, the measurable, the understandable. And you can even kind of operate your life like that because so much of life in a civilized society kind of is that way. But it's this thing that becomes sort of circular. It's like, okay, we should value the predictable things. Why? Because they can be scientifically studied. What does that mean? It means they're predictable. We should value the predictable things because they're predictable. Like, okay, I'm not exactly sure what you said here. It's more like they're the only things that can be studied in that rigorous scientific way. But here's the crazy thing. We all know that potential exists. We all intuitively get that chaos exists. Things that are really unpredictable. But like, you can't prove that. Like, here's a thought experiment for everybody watching. Try to prove that potential exists without transforming it into order. I'll give you a framework for doing just that. Let's say you're throwing a dart at the wall. Half of the wall is red and half of the wall is blue. And you're not that good at aiming. You know, assuming you're gonna hit the wall, it's going to land somewhere red or land somewhere blue. Now let's say you throw the dart and it lands in the red section. Now you can say, The dart could have hit the blue or the red, but how would you know? Like, how would you actually know? Because what alternative scenario could have happened? And the only way we could know that an alternative scenario could happen is if it did happen. You can test this by trying to falsify the statement, the dart was always going to hit the red. Okay, try to disprove that. Try to disprove that the dart was always going to hit the red. It's the only thing that happened. How can you ever prove that the dart could have hit the blue? There's no way to prove it. The only way to prove it would be if you threw the dart at the blue, but then we would just say it never was going to hit the red. Intuitively, we understand either section could have been hit, but we can't like test that. Now you can test that darts can be thrown in different areas of the wall, but we're not talking about darts in general. We're talking about that specific dart. And then to get really, I know this is boring, you know, then we could say, okay, what are the different physical characteristics of that dart and how is it different? But then it's just like, okay, is it really a knowledge problem, or is it just the fact that we can only throw the dart once? It is basically sort of impossible to prove that potential exists, that chaos exists, but we all kind of get that it does. So I'm not saying it's a perfect one-to-one comparison, but science is a little bit like studying order, and spiritual thought probably has more to do with things that aren't really provable in the same way. But that's not at all to say, this is the modern deception, is to say that that means it's not real. In the same way that, or in an analogous way, that we could say that the dart could either have hit the red or the blue. I mean, okay, like I said in the video from the other day, prove that you should live a good life with science. This is how the analogy with the dart works. We can say that here are the benefits of living maybe what we would generically call a good life, but then it's like, is that going to be the good life for everybody? What is goodness? And plus, like, why? You can show all the benefits, but that doesn't mean I should do it. You know, that's a value judgment rather than some consequentialist thing like, oh, you should do something that benefits the community. What is the community? Why should I do it? Like, there's no scientific, just saying that it has better consequences doesn't mean I should do it. Virtues and values and things are things that we have to deal with the unknown. Like, courage is generic because, like, there's so many things that you might have to have courage, especially in pre-modern times. You don't even know what you have to have courage for in a chaotic situation. But we know that generally speaking, you should be courageous, and it's better to be courageous. But it's inherently having to do with potential. So I could go on and on about it, but great comment. Funksta says, whole video is a bangin' soundtrack, like Guardians of the Galaxy type-ish. Bunch of fire emojis. That means a lot. It's 3D projects. That might be a new one. Maybe he's written something before. When I was young and out on my first business trip, I went to a Brazilian restaurant in Austin, Texas. Wow, I was unprepared. It was delicious. However, you do need to pace yourself, and understand how to work the green-red card, LOL. I would wonder if he went to Estancia or Fogo de Chao. I think those are the two ones, but this may have been a long time ago. ENGMR, I'm not sure. I should get eyes sometime. I grew up in Livingston, Texas. The Fane Theater was the place to be as a preteen on Friday nights in the early 80s. It was cool. I wish I was passing through there when more things were open. It would have been fun to go look at the shops and stuff. But I have maybe this is a bit of a rant too. There's a YouTube channel called Jim and Nick's Road Trip, where they just go to all these little towns in America. It feels like the mission of the YouTube channel is to go to every small town in America. And it's amazing. But the reason I like it is because there's all these places in America that you'll never see. You could spend your entire life, it's kind of like potential, right? Like it's transformed into order when you go there. But before, it's just this vague potential. But yeah, so it's just interesting to see America. That's kind of something I like to do in these small towns, because people live there. It's like, what's it like to live in this small town? I grew up in a lot of small towns, but you know, all these towns have little stories, and there's, oh, this used to be a drugstore and then that closed down and then they built this thing. I always just kind of wonder stuff like that. But Jim and Nick's road trip is amazing because they do that all over the country. See, even as Americans, we watch TV and movies and stuff, and that's how we get a sense of what our country looks like. But it's actually super not true. You know, oh, I used to know this. The median city in America that the average person lives in, or the median person lives in, is 1,000 people or less. And a 1,000 person city is like nothing. Like, if there's a city with 500 population, that's almost like just being out in the country. And half of the country lives in a place like that or more rural. So we really don't get a sense of what America is like. And this YouTube channel, Jim and Nick's Road Trip, actually lets you do that. Write in the comments if you watch it. It's somewhat big. Some of you may have seen it. ZB Creation says, dude, the quote Trump store had me cracking up. I almost interviewed that guy. In case you're curious, he was Hispanic. He had 2 Chihuahuas. He was a super nice guy. The Reasonable Gentleman says, the question M3, what causes those natural occurrences and what embedded its creative signature in everything with the Fibonacci sequence? Heavy Tool music commences. I know the priest says fit. I actually do have a theory about how time could have come into existence at the Big Bang without pre-existing itself. I think I'm gonna wait till I'm kind of big, if I ever get big on YouTube, to launch that one, because it could be pretty big, be a big realization for a lot of people. Oh man, there's so many. Sandingo said, did you have your shop on vacation mode? No, not just for one day, but there was a time I had to leave for like a week, probably 4 or 5 years ago, and I did. It has to be pretty serious before we're gonna actually miss out on orders. IAGMR, I think I said Ian GMR. Man, I can't read anything. I went to the Hobbit Cafe for the first time on Saturday. Glad you made it there. Maybe next time you are in town, we can meet up for a meal. Oh, maybe we can meet up for a mead. All right, one more. We saved the best for last here. Barry Horton says, nice bit of Deacon Blue. Love the thrift trips. Perfect comment. If anybody's wondering, Deacon Blue, I think I said this early in the video, they're the Scottish band from the 80s. They're really one of those bands that wasn't big in America at all, but like you kind of talk to old Scottish people and they know about them. The way I discovered Deacon Blue, probably like a lot of people, there's a really famous Steely Dan song called Deacon Blues, which I guess they must have named themselves after. Statistically, it just seems improbable. It's off of Asia, AJA, which is such a good album. Man, okay, if you haven't listened to that Steely Dan album, just go listen to it. But yeah, there's a song called Deacon Blues, and I was like typing it in on Spotify or probably YouTube, and then I just discovered there's a band called that, and I started listening to them, and they were pretty cool. That's how I know Deacon Blue. It's interesting stuff because like they're sort of a new wave band, but they're kind of more grounded, which is real weird with new wave. They have all this like working class populist stuff. Like that song I was singing in the video yesterday. It's about some guy retiring and buying a ship or buying a little boat. And he's just like saving up his money. He's real excited. He's got this ship and it's like so wholesome. And they're kind of celebrating it. It's like, good for that guy. You planned ahead and stuff. I don't know, a lot of their music just is like that. And it's very weirdly pure and wholesome, kind of. All right, we answered a whole bunch more comments than normal because I missed the last few days, obviously. I'm very exhausted. So, Tell me in the comments what y'all are grateful for. It's because of your support, that because of viewers like you. But yeah, obviously going on the thrift trips and having a little fun makes it a lot better if I can share it with you guys, and I appreciate that. You guys are the Gratitude Gang. See this for reference. Tell me in the comments what's brightening your day, what little moments help you savor life in a way that would be impossible without them. I like to read the comments, probably give you a heart and an upvote, and we drop these every day. Always grinding, endless grind set, eternal battle. But thanks for tuning in. Grateful to all of the Gratitude Gang. I'll catch you next time. Peace out.